Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm LeonasibleT, this time with a Warframe video. The next Warframe update, called Sister of Parvos, is almost upon us. It'll be coming out this Wednesday or Thursday, and we'll have a bunch of new things, including a new Warframe called Yoreli. She's a water bending Warframe, and it looks amazing. Her abilities look amazing, so I guess this now is the perfect time to talk about another water-bending Warframe that's been neglected by Digital Extreme since the game was released. We can see that this frame needs a lot of tweaks and changes. I'm talking about Hydroid. Now in the footage I'm showing you, you can see the meta build for Hydroid mains. It is the undertone. You use the undertone, you put it on the ground, and you essentially use max pull that you can infuse with a helmet system, and that's how it works. Now, when you see a build like this or gameplay like this, you might think that the first thing they should change is the camera angle, because it's way too low when he's in undertow. You can't really see the enemies. So in the footage that I'm showing you, I hope I can include a part where I'm just on high ground. I try to put myself on high ground so I can have a better visibility and using the pull. Or the easiest solution would be just to, you can put down undertone and still be not turned into water. You could still move around, and the undertow will be like Frost's bubble or something like that. It will be just in one place. That will be the simplest solution to maybe help him a little bit. But of course, this does not work at high levels. I mean, at level 30, you can barely kill anybody with the pawn, even if you're using, Tempest Barrage and the Tentacle Swarm and all that. So at high levels, against level 100, you really have to rely on weapons, and his abilities are really, really bad. So looking now at Yoreli, and of course I've provided some feedback to Digital Extreme through the forums to how he should be reworked, and I think the rework was being done. Maybe it got held off because of this new updates and all that. But here I wanted to make a video about how I personally would rework Hydroid. I mean, it's not, I don't think this is the greatest ideas. I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands of ideas. This is just my ideas. I wanted to share them with the community and with Digital Extremes, so maybe they have an understanding of how we would like it to work. So let me begin. Now, starting with his passive, the first thing I would like to is for him to, when he runs, he could turn into water, and that's it. I mean, like Limbo, when he runs, he travels to the rest realm. Hydroid will do the same. When he runs, and only when he runs, he turns into a ball of water. It's a little bit like Limbo, like I said, but it's in a way they're different. Because Limbo, although enemies can't touch him, they can see him. With Hydroid, it's different. The portal can touch, lasers, it can touch enemies and they alert, but they can't see him. It cannot be detected by cameras, it can be detected by lasers, so it kind of balances everything between it and Limbo. Limbo has this thing where he can't be touched, but he can be seen, and here he can't be seen, but he can be touched. Now, his first ability, this is where I would start the changes. His first ability should be Tidal Surge. Right now, Tidal Surge, it kind of works, but if you look at Revenant's Reeve, it works a lot better. Reeve it feels like it's bigger and it catches more enemies, while his Tidal Surge seems like it's lower and it doesn't have the same effect. So I would build him up to that part, and this will be this first ability. This will also synergize when he's running. So if you're running with Hydroid, so you're in this puddle moving around, you can then use Tidal Surge to speed up even more. It could also have a small boost in damage or in power if you're already in water and using Tidal Surge. Volt has kind of a similar mechanic, when he runs, it builds up his damage. So Hydroid will be kind of the same, when he runs. If you use Tidal Surge, it will do more damage. If you use Tidal Surge standing still, it will still do damage, but not as much as if you were in full water transformation. For his second ability, this is where the swap happens, I would put Tempest Barrage. So I would change this first for his second for his first. Tempest Barrage is good as is, but it could be a whole lot better. First of all, the first thing I would change is, the more you energize Tempest Barrage, the smaller it would get. Not the bigger it would get. It will actually get smaller. It will start off with a wide range to do just rain damage, just a little water damage on every enemy. Then it will get to the part where it becomes what it is now, the bullets of water, and then at a closer range, at the smallest circumference possible, it will do something like the Valbon's Orbital Strike. It will be a really big splash of water just falling on all the enemies. Now, this creates a little problem because at the wide range, then it wouldn't be a lot powerful. You know, it maybe kill level 10 or 12 enemies, but at level 30 it won't do that much damage. So I would put in it a little perk. The perk would be, and you can see this actually in the Eurelis trailer, where one of the enemies seems like is gun is jammed. So Tempest Barrage at the widest range, if you just tap it, it will make a rain over a large area, and this would actually jam enemies' weapons. Mesa has this ability. I don't know if it's a proper ability or if it's an augment, but it has this, so they could just modify this to fit Hydroid's kit. So at a wider range, although it doesn't do a lot of damage, it would jam weapons. I would even believe that the circle where you can see this would have like 3 different colors, or maybe 3 indexations to show that, okay, at the first level you're doing rain, at the second level you're doing the bullets, and on the third level you're doing the water strike. All this still combines with this augment, Corrosive Barrage. So this will be another advantageous for using the wider area, because you can put that barrage on it and have the wider area jamming and have enemies, you know, stripped of their armor. At closer range, you'll do a lot more damage, and maybe to a bigger enemy deplete his armor. Now his third ability, this will have a really big change. I would not call it Undertone because I don't like the name. I would call it Maelstrom. The Maelstrom would work in 2 ways. If you tap it, it leaves a little pond, and that pond, if enemies run through it, they will just fall in. That's it. It'll be exactly like it is now, but it will be a small pond. The second part is, if you energize it, it creates a really big pond, like a maelstrom, like those you see in Pirates of the Caribbean and such. And this will have a second effect. This will actually pull enemies slowly in until they completely disappear. These 2 advantages are that you can have maybe 1 or 2 pawns. If you just tap, you can have maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3, but at least 2 pawns, maybe guarding consoles or maybe at entrance points in the room. If you do the big one, the Maelstrom, it will track every enemy in the room to the center, but it will still leave enough time for enemies to for your allies to shoot the enemy until they completely disappear. That way they will help you get rid of the enemies, and it won't be like this overwhelm troll ability where you just pull everybody in and your teammates can't do anything. The biggest difference between this and Undertone is that Hydroid would not disappear. You would not turn into water. You would just leave the pawns wherever they have to be and would still fight around. This of course will synergize with his first ability and his second ability. His first ability, you could use Tidal Surge to push more enemies into the Maelstrom. And the second ability, of course, will still work the same, where you can do Tempest Barrage and enemies inside the Maelstrom will get increased damage. Think of it as a mix between Zephyr's tornadoes. You know, she can have 3 or she can have 1, but imagine just slowly pulling everybody in. So you have this kit where you can actually choose which way you want to play Hydroid. Now his last ability, his last power, would remain the same. I would just change the name. I don't like the name Tentacle Swarm. I would call it just the Kraken, and it would keep pretty much the same as is right now. As you use it, that's it. I would give it a few perks. If you synergize it with Maelstrom, I mean, if you do the Kraken inside the Maelstrom, it would attract all the enemies at once faster. I mean, just like Nidos Larva, you know, the testicles will pull enemies in. I mean, it will have to be some kind of difference, maybe not as fast, or maybe not the range will be bigger, or maybe it will just be stronger. You know, it has to be a little counterbalance to Nidos kit. But if you do it inside it, it will just pull enemies in, and at the end of the duration of the Kraken, you see this giant mouth just bite the enemies and deal a little bit more damage than used to. The other advantage of using Kraken this time, and this is kind of taken from Eurelis kit, is that if you do the Kraken and you stand on top of it, and this would only work for Hydroid, you'd get a boost in offense and defense stats. I don't know how much, I'll leave that to the apps, but you know, I really like this idea that if you've seen the movie Aquaman, it's there when Aquaman comes out of the water riding not the Kraken, but the kaiju or something like that. I really like this idea of, you know, Hydroid summoning the Kraken underneath him and then just becoming overpowerful for a few seconds or a little bit of time. I really like that idea, so I would also add that to this kit. So that's it. Those are my ideas for a Hydroid rework. If you have any ideas, please post them down in the comment section. I am a bit excited for this update for Sister Parvos. I know it's not, you know, the very paradox, but it will bring a few items that I am interested to see. So I hope you're hyped about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And as always, have a great game, guys.